everybody, it's your digital technology librarian, Christy, here with you yet again with another Film Rec Friday. It is already the weekend, so this week, I don't know if everyone knows this, but it has been Discovery Channel's Shark Week, of course, and I thought for something a little bit fun, a little bit different, we would try and tie in with that. So all of my recommendations today are going to be either really fantastic documentaries having to do with sharks or some so bad they're good movies with sharks as the big creature feature, sort of like the Sharknado movies, things like that. So if you are a Shark or Shark Week fan, please do tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. So without any further ado, we're going to get right into those recs. All these recs, as every week, all come from our three digital video services. Those are CleveNet's Overdrive, Hoopla Digital, and Canopy. All three of these services you can use totally for free with your Milan-Berlin Library card. So let's get those recs started, shall we? So my first couple recommendations come from CleveNet's Overdrive, just like normal. And the first of those recs is a National Geographic documentary called Tiger Shark, Predator Revealed. Now, prior to watching this, I wasn't really super familiar with tiger sharks at all. Like, I had a vague recollection of hearing the name before, but usually what we're familiar with are things like great white sharks, because of course Jaws, or hammerhead sharks, things that like have a very specific, unusual shape, that kind of thing. But no, the tiger shark's really, really interesting animal. The documentary, like most National Geographic documentaries, is quite beautifully filmed. It's also really fascinating. It absolutely does not shy away from, say, like the darker moments of the animal kingdom. I mean, it's a predator, so it attacks things, and you absolutely see things get attacked. If you are a seal lover, don't watch this. But it's graphic, but not in a sense that like there's nothing gratuitous about it. It's just, it shows sharks doing what sharks do. So in that style, it's very informative. It is going to teach you a lot about an animal that's actually quite beautiful in a lot of ways. So if you are interested in really diving into, pun not intended, but perfect pun there, diving into like a very well detailed explanation of what these rather perfect predators are, this is a great documentary. It will absolutely have you kind of cautiously looking into the depths of any ocean you decide to explore anytime soon, that's for sure. So again, Tiger Shark, Predator Revealed by National Geographic. Excellent shark documentary. Make sure you check it out. The other CleveNet Overdrive film I wanted to recommend is another documentary called Great White Lies. Now, this one definitely is an agendized film. So there's a purpose to it. And it focuses on Australia's ruling about the culling of white sharks, which had previously been a protected species. The white sharks we're all familiar with, of course, from Jaws, like the ones that we all know in quotes, are vicious, man-eating killers, right? So this documentary sort of talks about what the action of culling them really means and what that will entail with regard to the ecosystem, things like that. And it has interviews with scientists, politicians, activists, so you can sort of get multiple viewpoints from the situation. It also really sort of takes a look at the history of shark culling, like what it has meant in the past, what it has done to, the different biomes within the area, and then also sort of touches on, what are real truths about white sharks. What are maybe some things that have been overblown through things like fictional novels and films, just basic hearsay from the internet. It was quite an interesting watch. So if you are into agenda films, in addition to films that sort of talk about sharks, or if you're just like a Great White fan, make sure you watch Great White Lies. It is very, very interesting, and it will definitely make you think about the like status quo of certain creatures that we have seen used as, say, villains for years and years and years. So again, Great White Lies, check it out. Okay, moving on to our second set of recommendations. These ones are all going to be from Hoopla Digital, and the first rec is actually for a bit of a series of movies, and those would be the Sharknado movies. I know I have mentioned the Sharknado movies before, very briefly, but I can't possibly do a Shark Week recommendation list and not include Sharknado. Hoopla has all of the movies. If you've never seen them, they are absolute gems. I would say they're the new generation's equivalent of Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. You can see, everything that's CGI. It's not, there aren't like strings in the background, but you can absolutely identify all the CGI. The acting is mediocre at best, though they did manage to get like John Hurd, who was actually a very decent actor. He just passed away recently, I believe. In addition to, say, like your Ian Zierings and your Tara Reeds. But that all sort of works together, and it's not about the fact that it's a terrible movie as far as production. It's just a lot of fun. It is legitimately a lot of fun. And I've watched this in groups for years, and it would never matter how many times any of us had seen it. We'd always be like, sure thing, Sharknado. And sometimes you're just in the mood for like a so bad it's good film. And Sharknado movies absolutely do this. It's a very self-aware series. They know they're not making, the next great thing. It's not some artistic piece of work that's going to be up for an Oscar of any kind. C+ movie at best, and it's fun. Like, that's the whole thing. They're just really fun, and they're funny. They are genuinely humorous. So if you're looking for something ridiculous and fun and funny, the Sharknado films, there are a ton of them. Check them out. They're all available through Hoopla, and I guarantee you a good time. My second recommendation from Hoopla is slightly less, if by slightly I mean totally less, self-aware and tongue-in-cheek funny. And it is a documentary called On a Long Breath. Now, On a Long Breath is gorgeous. It is so beautifully filmed. You 100% feel that you're underwater with them. And the things that you're seeing are just extraordinary. And it actually, even more so than a shark movie, sharks are part of it, but it follows Pierre Frala, who is a champion free diver, which I didn't honestly know was a thing. And it follows all of his ocean exploits. And it's, again, just gorgeous. He's this very, very skilled diver who actually goes underwater without really any equipment at all. We've all heard or seen scuba diving gear and film footage. We've seen people snorkel in the reefs, but he's just going by himself. Sometimes he will have, he'll have like goggles so you can see, and that makes sense to me. But other than goggles, he's just holding his breath. And he can do that for, I believe, 6 minutes. 6 minutes is a long time. I know when I was a kid doing swimming classes, like if I could hold my breath for 60 seconds, I was like super excited. So you follow this extraordinary man as he goes along his below sea level exploits, and he explores the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Atlantic Ocean. And then we also get some footage of the Mediterranean Sea, and he introduces us to a ton of wildlife, including sharks. And those moments are just extraordinary, watching him interact and see and experience all these things underwater without all of this gear. It's just a man and the wild. Um, and it is extremely beautiful to see. So if you love like nature films and things like that, or you just really enjoy films that sort of follow extraordinary human beings, On a Long Breath, really, really wonderful documentary. And that one, again, is available on Hoopla Digital. My very last Hoopla Digital recommendation is one I'd never actually heard of prior to this week of Rex, and it was from a friend of mine who said, if I'm doing recommendations about shark movies, I absolutely needed to watch Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Um, it is definitely one of those movies that falls in the so bad it's good category, but it is quite fun. Uh, Kind of a next generation Godzilla versus Mothra style situation going on. Like you had those very clearly people in monster costume situation, you have very obvious CGI in this one. But I think what's most fun about this is that it actually features a performance by Jaleel White, who a lot of us, especially those my age, probably remember as Steve Urkel from Family Matters. Um, he's definitely the strongest actor in the cast, and he's one of the main actors. So if you're feeling like a acting nostalgia creature feature, check out Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Again, a ton of fun, and a good one for one of those nights when you just want something silly and just laughable. Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Now, with my very last set of recommendations, those are all going to be from Canopy. Uh, Canopy, of course, has a ton of fantastic documentaries about sharks. Uh, Many of them are even episodes of some of the PBS Wilderness series. I would strongly recommend all of those. They are very true to form, nature style documentaries, so they dive into what life is like for those creatures, very factual. But the one that I loved the absolute most, of all of the ones, I checked out quite a few on Canopy, is called Saving Jaws. Um, and it is as much about a human being as it is about the sharks themselves. And it follows mainly a woman dubbed the Shark Whisperer. And she is a renowned marine biologist whose real name is Ocean Ramsey. Uh, and she's famous for swimming with sharks and her familiarity with the creatures and their seeming familiarity with her. Uh, when you watch it, you feel like it can't possibly be real, but she really does dive into the ocean, and these creatures just have this sort of kinship with her, and it's crazy to see, but it is real. It's not something that's been like CGI'd at all, but they come right up to her. It's like they know her, and all kinds of sharks, not just like itty bitty baby sharks that seem pretty harmless, but like sharks. And so it follows her and her team's goal of really spreading the word and the truth about sharks, in particular great whites, to the masses. Because as we talked about before, great whites in particular get this very specific rap. The Jaws movie, which is probably one of my favorite horror films of all time, uh, definitely makes us view them as these huge, vicious eating machines. And she's trying to explain to people that that's just not the case. They're definitely not pet friendly, but they're also not these monsters in the ocean. So this chronicle of her work and her team's passion for these animals is just amazing. And so you come away from watching it with this very deep respect for both the creatures themselves and for her and her team's work. Their pride in what they do comes across so clearly. And when you have the things that they're saying and the things that they're expressing juxtaposed with her relationship with these animals, when you see her interact with them, it's just such a beautiful blending of worlds, and it's such a gorgeous film that I have nothing bad to say about it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So please do, if you're an animal lover, and again, one of the if you're interested in movies about extraordinary people, check out Saving Jaws on Canopy. It is absolutely worth it, and it's absolutely beautiful. And with that, that is my last recommendation for Shark Week. Um, the Discovery Channel, of course, you can check out their channel on the web. I do believe they have tons of free videos available for people to watch as well on there. But as always, Shark Week's a lot of fun. Check it out. Um, if you have any recommendations, if you have creature features, if you have documentaries, if you just have wilderness documentaries or movies in general that you'd like to recommend, comment below and let us know what you're watching. If you have recommendations for future theme weeks, again, let me know what those are. I'd love to chat back and forth with you. And with that, I hope everybody has a great weekend and a happy end to their Shark Week. We'll see you next week. Bye.